should you put projects from YouTube, from Udemy, maybe something that you worked on in a college class on your portfolio project or your portfolio website, or maybe on a resume? So I want to give you the perspective of somebody that's had to actually interview candidates for work, and what I would think about this and how I would respond if I saw a project that maybe you completely copied online. So the first thing is, this is kind of a response video to my last video where I had a bunch of people send in their projects and I reviewed them. I graded a few of those projects, and some of those portfolios had projects either from my course, from some other YouTubers. One of them was DevEd, and somebody in particular that got some feedback, I would say, was Kenny Tran, where he has a project on his resume, and I didn't notice this, but it was from DevEd, which a lot of people stated in the comment section. Now, just to give you the short answer, I think it's okay to copy projects. I want to make that clear, but I think there's things that you should do and could do to maybe make yourself stand out a little bit better, to make this a little bit more not ethical, but to show that you put in some work into that. So let's just start with the first thing right away. If you're just starting with coding, it's very common to have Hangman, Tic-Tac-Toe, FizzBuzz algorithm, things like that, maybe a to-do app on your resume. So this is nothing new. I think it's totally okay. Now, different YouTubers, different courses are going to have different styles of this, but right away, it's as somebody interviewing you, I already understand this. I understand that if you're new, you're going to be copying work. That's 100% okay. So in this process, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you questions, especially if I recognize it. And one thing about those people that sent in the projects, I had them send in the projects and I rated them without interviewing them. Now, I would be able to get down to the bottom of this to figure out what you actually know if I had the chance to interview you. So Kenny, if I interviewed you, I would still figure out probably if you, and I'm sure you'd be honest with me, but I would figure out if that was a copy or if that was actually yours. Now, I think there's 3 types of projects that you can put on your portfolio. So if you watch that last video, you know that the best kind of project or the highest rated project that I would rank you for, and I think most candidates or most interviewers would rank you as, is your own personal project. So something that you worked on for a client, something that was a passion project, something you created on your own. If you have that, that's going to stand out to me. Now, the second one, this is that copy. So if you copy a project, do try to elaborate on it, try to expand upon it, and add features, change up the styling, make it your own. Now, if you do this, I think that is probably the best thing to do if you're copying a project. And if you're trying to find the answer, take that as a note. Do try to expand on these projects. Now, I think the last one on that list, so out of those 3, I think number 3 would be doing a complete copy. So some of the candidates on this video had complete copies of my projects, of other projects, and I still think this is okay. What this shows me, and the reason why I still rank those pretty good, was because I can see that you're trying a lot of projects. So if I know that you learned how to code, let's say 3-6 months ago, and you have a bunch of projects from YouTube, that's still okay with me because I see that you're working and maybe you didn't have time to elaborate and you're just trying to soak in all the information. Now, if you do this, first of all, I think you should have a good description on your portfolio or on your resume, and try to expand on these projects. So this is what you can do if you did do a complete copy. Tell me what you learned, what you thought about the course, things that you got stuck on, things that maybe you didn't understand and now do understand. So maybe you learned how to authenticate users. Just go in and actually try to elaborate on the course so I understand that you didn't just copy it, maybe even download a GitHub repo, but you understand what you did. Even though you didn't expand upon it, you're at least able to have some kind of knowledge on that. So yeah, if you're copying it, just give some kind of background to what you're doing. So that's my take from an interviewer's perspective. I'm just trying to figure out what you actually know. That's the end goal to anything here. So whether you copy it, expand upon it, I really just want to know what you know, what you're capable of before I hire you, especially depending on what the task is at work. I just want to understand that you know the things and that you're motivated, that you're able to do the job. So I'm going to close this video out by linking out a video from Coder Foundry. So right before I made this, he started live streaming, and I saw that the title was related about getting a job and portfolio projects or resumes, I believe. So I clicked on that right before. So I just set up the camera and I asked a question online, and I asked him this very question. What do you think about adding on projects from courses, from YouTube videos on your portfolio? So with that being said, thanks for watching, and here is his response, and we're just going to close out the video.
Cool. Top of the hour. Let's do one more here. I like this question.
Okay, cool.
This is right up our alley. Dennis's question: Why do you think? Well, what do you think? I'm going to say, what do you think about putting projects from YouTube/videos Udemy on your resume?
So what I would think, Dennis, is if you let's take a famous one, and let's take Yelp Camp. That's famous. Colt Steele's famous boot camp development course. It actually
Yep.
got a new version of it. I haven't looked at it, but let's say you use that one.
Still builds Yelp
Um,
Camp though, just so you know.
yeah, he still
But it
builds
is
Yelp
a
Camp.
popular
He's
product.
updated it. So he sold it like a billion times, and so I mean he must be doing something right. But let's say that you're taking that. I think what you need to do is take Yelp Camp and make your own something else and put that on your resume so that you don't look like you just did a code along with someone and they look at it and go, that's just Yelp Camp. You just code along with Colt Steele. You don't know what you're doing. But if you can take the technique in Yelp Camp and turn it into something else or add features to it, then yeah, it's ready for your resume.
Yeah,
So I
you
think
need
that's
to
good.
you need to take what you've learned and build something else. That's the ideal situation. At minimum, you need to stretch it, right? But
Yeah.
what you really need to do is learn the technique, apply the technique to something else that looks totally different. That's
Right.
that's the goal.
Or at least change the UI for the Yelp Camp they teach you.
Right, definitely don't call it Yelp Camp.